Welcome to a fascinating journey through a world without humans. Discover how Earth would change if we disappeared tomorrow. Let's dive in. The impact of a sudden human disappearance on Earth. The sudden disappearance of humans would bring an immediate halt to all activities, causing a seismic shift in the planet's rhythms. Factories would cease operations, cars would be abandoned, and the global economy would grind to a standstill. With no one to manage them, power plants would gradually shut down. Cities would experience cascading blackouts, leaving skyscrapers, homes, and streets in darkness. The hum of modern life would fade into eerie silence. Untamed wildlife would begin to explore urban landscapes, venturing into silent cities. Deer might graze in parks, birds nest in high-rises, and predators reclaim territories. Human absence would turn concrete jungles into wildlife havens. Buildings and infrastructure would rapidly degrade without maintenance. Rain, wind, and natural processes would erode structures, causing bridges to collapse and roads to crack. Nature would swiftly dismantle the human-made environment, reclaiming its space. Without industrial emissions and vehicle exhaust, air quality would dramatically improve. Clear skies would replace smog-covered cities, offering a breath of fresh air. The atmosphere would begin to heal, benefiting all living organisms on Earth. Domesticated animals left without human care would face immediate survival challenges. Pets accustomed to regular feeding might struggle to find food, while livestock could become easy prey for predators, drastically altering the balance of local ecosystems. With human waste no longer managed, decomposition processes would accelerate, releasing toxins and pollutants into the environment. This could initially harm wildlife, but over time, natural processes would begin to break down and neutralize these contaminants. Forests would start to reclaim areas previously occupied by humans. Urban spaces would gradually transform into dense woodlands as trees and plants spread, creating new habitats for animals and gradually restoring the land to its natural state. The sudden halt of agricultural activity would lead to changes in plant life. Crops would wither without human intervention, while wild plants would flourish, altering landscapes and potentially leading to the resurgence of native species and ecosystems. Marine life would experience a renaissance without overfishing and pollution. Fish populations would grow, coral reefs would begin to recover, and marine ecosystems would become more balanced, fostering greater biodiversity and healthier oceans. Marine life would experience a resurgence without the pressures of overfishing and pollution. Coral reefs would begin to recover, and fish populations would rebound. Ocean ecosystems would gradually return to their natural balance, thriving in newfound tranquility. Human-made structures, left unattended, would be overtaken by vegetation. Roots and vines would creep into the smallest cracks, breaking down concrete and steel. Over time, nature would reclaim cities, turning them into lush, green landscapes. Weather elements would greatly accelerate the decay of buildings and roads. Rain, wind, and temperature changes would erode surfaces, causing structures to crumble. Without maintenance, urban environments would quickly deteriorate and blend into the natural world. Invasive species would spread unchecked, altering ecosystems. Without human intervention, some native species might be outcompeted. However, this new dynamic would eventually reach equilibrium, creating a different but stable ecological balance in various regions. Animal behavior and ecosystem dynamics would shift dramatically. Predators and prey would establish new territories within abandoned human spaces. The absence of human-induced pressures would foster a more natural interaction among species, stabilizing ecosystems over time. The breakdown of artificial landscapes and gardens would begin almost immediately. Without human intervention, manicured lawns would give way to wild grasses and flowers. Carefully pruned hedges and topiary would grow unchecked, returning to their natural forms in chaos. Environmental recovery from past human activities would be visible over decades. Polluted rivers would gradually cleanse themselves, and deforested areas would see the return of native trees and plants. Ecosystems would slowly rebuild, healing from industrial and agricultural exploitation. Nuclear plants, left unattended, could pose significant risks. Cooling systems would eventually fail, potentially leading to radiation leaks. This could create hazardous zones, impacting local flora and fauna, and leaving a lasting, dangerous legacy from human innovation. Without humans, global water systems would undergo significant changes. Dams would eventually collapse, allowing rivers to flow freely again. Wetlands and floodplains would be restored, leading to improved biodiversity and healthier ecosystems, previously altered by human engineering. Human waste, both organic and synthetic, would decompose and persist. Organic matter would break down relatively quickly, enriching the soil. However, plastics and other non-biodegradable materials would endure, reminding the planet of humanity's environmental footprint for centuries. Transportation networks, once bustling with vehicles, would transform into wildlife corridors. Animals would traverse highways and railways freely, reclaiming space once dominated by humans. Nature would slowly dismantle asphalt and concrete, allowing ecosystems to flourish uninterrupted. Bird populations would likely thrive as urban areas turn into natural habitats. Migration patterns might stabilize with fewer human-induced disruptions. Nesting sites would multiply in abandoned buildings, offering safe havens for various species to propagate. Natural disasters would reshape abandoned human habitats significantly. Earthquakes, floods, and wildfires would accelerate the decay of infrastructure. Over time, these areas would integrate into the natural landscape, becoming indistinguishable from their surroundings, fostering new ecosystems. Without human presence, new species could evolve, adapting to the transformed environment. Natural selection would favor traits suitable for a world devoid of human activity. Over millennia, Earth's biodiversity might expand, reflecting a new ecological balance. Dams, left unattended, would eventually fail, restoring rivers to their natural courses. Fish populations would recover as waterways flow freely, replenishing ecosystems dependent on these habitats. The resurgence of wetlands would provide vital breeding grounds for numerous species. Without human intervention, efforts to mitigate climate change would halt, leading to potential acceleration of global warming. Abandoned renewable energy projects and carbon capture initiatives would cease, leaving natural processes to cope with rising greenhouse gas concentrations. Earth's geology would shift subtly without human activities like mining, drilling, and construction. Natural processes, such as erosion and sedimentation, would dominate, gradually reshaping landscapes. Over time, evidence of human influence would fade, replaced by nature's hand. Satellites and space debris would orbit unchecked without ground control. Over time, collisions would increase, creating more debris. This growing cloud of space junk could threaten remaining satellites, leading to a cascade of orbital debris issues. Artificial light and noise pollution would diminish rapidly in a world without humans. Night skies would brighten with stars, and natural sounds would dominate. Wildlife would thrive in the newfound tranquility, reclaiming spaces once disrupted by human activity. Human culture would endure in artifacts and ruins, telling our story to future explorers. Cities would become archaeological sites, preserving remnants of our civilization. Over centuries, nature would gradually reclaim these structures, merging human history with the natural world. The remnants of human agriculture would slowly revert to natural landscapes, with fields giving way to forests and wild grasses. Over time, native plant species would reclaim the land, restoring ecosystems and increasing biodiversity in previously cultivated areas. Thanks for exploring a world without humans with us. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more fascinating content. See you next time.